Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, student. How are you today? I'm Teacher Nur. Today we are going to learn English. Before starting the lesson, let's raise your hand and dua before studying. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi zidni ilman warzuqni fahman. Ya Allah, give me knowledge and good understanding. Amin. Okay, student. Now we are going to learn from the Dexel book, English as a second language. And the topic is celebrity. Have you got what it takes to be a celebrity? What are the advantages and disadvantages of being famous?
Ignite! You enjoy the show!
Hey, so being famous looks pretty awesome. Seems like there's usually very large amounts of money involved. You could do like a ton of stuff with that. Maybe buy yourself a helicopter with your face on it. Just fly that thing around. People will be like, hey, that's that person's face. Plus, you get a whole bunch of adoration from fans. You walk into a room and people are like, hey, this famous person is here now, and I know them and I love them and I saw their face on a helicopter earlier today. Fans will even sometimes do crazy stuff just to show how much they love you. Maybe they'll mail you envelopes with locks of their hair inside. I mean, who doesn't want to receive an envelope full of human hair? That sounds fantastic. And even if you're not into that hair envelope idea, it's easy to see why so many people want to be famous, because it seems like the answer to a whole lot of problems that we as humans have. Money can often be an issue in life. Well, become famous and that'll work itself out. People crave to be at the top of the social hierarchy and receive validation for their existence, and fame will work all that out too. That seems to be a 100% guarantee. You become famous and everything is great. The most desired career amongst young people today is actually YouTuber, and I don't think that's because people are passionate about video production or anything. I think it's because it's a path to fame you can jump on without leaving your own home. Of course that sounds great. Like, hey little Timmy, would you prefer to become an accountant or stay in your bedroom and become a rich celebrity with millions of fans and millions of dollars? But today I want to talk about fame a little bit and some of the misconceptions surrounding it. There are a lot of different ways to become famous these days. You can do it on YouTube. You can even be a rat that carries some pizza in the subway one day. That rat's a millionaire now. But in this video, we're going to be talking about one of the classic movie and TV related paths to fame that millions of people are still very much chasing on a daily basis: becoming a famous actor. So we're going to take a look at some people who have achieved massive levels of fame and success and wealth, and take a look at how that actually affected them once they had those things. We'll talk about famous people talking about being famous, and maybe we'll discover that fame isn't all it's cracked up to be. Maybe you don't want to receive a stranger's hair in your mailbox as much as you might think you do. So first off, a big thing that you lose with fame is privacy. That is a major thing that famous people talk about missing. Robert Pattinson explained what that's like in an interview with Premiere Magazine a couple years ago, and it does not sound great. He said that when he's in Los Angeles, he has about 40 seconds from the moment he arrives somewhere before somebody asks for his autograph. Can you imagine not being able to walk anywhere for more than a minute without being stopped by a complete stranger? And Pattinson says that this is just getting worse for celebrities because of social media. He says it makes it all too easy for fans to track his movements, and that if Twitter didn't exist, he'd, quote, be in peace. He walks down the street and somebody tweets, oh my god, just saw Robert Pattinson on Santa Monica Boulevard. Suddenly there's a swarm of people on Santa Monica Boulevard. That does not sound fun.
Who is that?
George Clooney has been experiencing that level of fame for several decades now, and it's weird to hear from human beings not being able to walk around in public. They just can't do stuff that we take for granted. Clooney told Esquire, quote, the big house on a hill is isolating. There's no other way to say it. There are restrictions to this kind of fame. I haven't walked in Central Park for 15 years. I'd like to, you know? And then there's Johnny Depp, who's also been living that celebrity life for decades. He said on the Today Show that being famous is a little like living like a fugitive. Everything has to be some sort of strategy to get you into the hotel, to get you out of the hotel, to get you into the restaurant, to get you out of the restaurant. plan an escape route so people can't see you. It's like you have to plan a bank heist anytime you want some chicken nuggets. Now, I can already sense some of you typing comments like, yeah, well, they chose this life and they're rich and that's part of it and they have no right to complain. Well, that's actually a pretty messed up thing for celebrities too. People don't seem to think that they have the right to feel sad or depressed or lonely because they've found success. Just ask Daniel Radcliffe. Or, you know, if you're not currently in the room with him, I'll just tell you what he said in an interview. When he was being interviewed by Sam Jones, he said, quote, "Part of the thing is the expectation that you should just be delighted all the time. You have a great job, you're wealthy, you don't have a right to not be excited about the thing all the time. You suddenly start to feel, man, if I'm just feeling some human emotion of sadness, does that mean I'm doing this wrong? Am I not good at being famous?" That's a messed up way to make Daniel Radcliffe feel. We all did that. That's a lot to deal with mentally, especially seeing as he was a kid. He was a young teen when he started dealing with that fame. And he went on to tell Sam Jones that the way he dealt with that and the fact that he was being watched by everyone all the time was to get very, 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 very drunk. And then he said people were watching him even more because he was drunk, and so he was like, well, I guess I should drink more to try to get over this feeling. He developed a serious drinking problem as a teen as a way of trying to cope with fame. He ultimately managed to overcome it, but he says he can point to certain scenes in Harry Potter where he's just not there behind the eyes because he was still intoxicated from the night before. Justine Bateman wrote an entire book about how messed up it is to be famous called Fame, the Hijacking of Reality. You probably now know her brother Jason Bateman a whole lot, separated from everyone and not even treated as a real person. She says you walk into a room and everything changes and people talk about you like you're not even there, like you're not real.
People don't seem to understand the pressure I'm under.
That's gotta be pretty hard to deal with psychologically. Imagine if you walked into a room and people just started talking about you as if you couldn't hear them. This also makes it tough to connect with people and create meaningful relationships.
I was hoping maybe this report could be a new beginning for us.
Idris Elba got married in April 2019, but in 2014, he said that being famous made it super tough for him to find someone, romantically speaking. He said sometimes you're not sure what's real or what's not. When millions of people adore you, it makes it tough to tell if the person you just met has a genuine connection with you or if they're just acting in a certain way because you're famous and they want to be close to you. Do they care about you or do they care about being close to a famous person? He admitted that he's gotten pretty paranoid about that in the past, and it made it very difficult to find true love. Idris just wanted someone to, also known as Stephen Glenn Martin, for those of you who have, been on his Wikipedia page. Steve Martin is one of the most famous and successful comedians there's ever been. In his book, Born Standing Up, and in his episode of Jerry Seinfeld's pretty straightforwardly named show, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, he talks about becoming insanely famous and the effect that it had on him and his work. See, Steve Martin's brand of stand-up comedy was really weird and conceptual, and he actually got started as a magician. He liked to do stuff like sleight of hand and nuanced little hand gestures. Another thing he'd do when he had smaller audiences was to make them all follow him out of the building and just kind of walk around town all together as he shouted. Like one time, apparently, he brought his audience to a fast food drive-thru and asked for 300 hamburgers, and so they all cheered. And then he was like, actually, no, I think I'll just have one small Diet Coke, please. Anyway, so when he became more and more famous, well, I mean, you can't have an entire arena full of people follow you down the street. That's a riot. You've now incited a riot, and I'm pretty sure that's like a felony or something. Also, the subtleties of his act didn't work as well for a crowd of 7,000 people. He also said that since his act was conceptual, once everybody understood the concept, it didn't work anymore. So, as his crowds grew and he became more and more famous, his creativity was compromised. He ended up stuck in this loop of doing the same thing over and over and over again. He grew so much in popularity that he essentially became depressed. Here's how ridiculous his fame got. One time he had heart palpitations while on stage and had to be rushed to the hospital. As he's being carried in on a gurney, his nurse asks him to autograph his electrocardiogram sheet. Eventually, it all just became too much, and he quit stand-up comedy suddenly and forever. Well, he did it once like 35 years later because he lost a bet to Jerry Seinfeld, but yeah, no. In 1981, he walked off stage one night and he never did it again. He was just done. His material that he had developed over the course of like 18 years couldn't even work anymore because he had achieved fame. He was stressed and he was unhappy. Luckily,
nowadays, many magazines, newspaper, and social media tell us more about famous people. It seems that they are very interested in them. Many people would like to be famous because they are rich. They have branded bag, branded wallet, expensive gadget. Of course, they have some credit cards, and they have lots of money.
Would you rather have a normal life or the life you have now?
Ooh, that's a very, very, very deep question. The life that I have now is a life that I've always dreamed about. I built and struggled and fought to have it be just like it is. I love being famous. I love being famous. When I moved into acting, I was like, I want to be the biggest movie star in the world. So Fresh Prince was out, so everybody would call me Will. That Monday morning after the box office receipts came out for Independence Day was the first time somebody called me Mr. Smith, right? So I was like, ooh, I like being Mr. Smith. I like being Mr. Smith. Some people feel unsafe being famous. I feel safe, right? If something were to happen and we had to go to the hospital, I know that we would walk in and the people would put us to the front because Men in Black was popular here. You know, so I feel safe. I know people would help. The perfect example, I was driving and I realized I was on E. So I pulled into the gas station and I didn't have my wallet. And I looked over on the other side and I saw a dude, he was like 36 years old. I was like, that dude's a Fresh Prince fan. You know, so I kind of rolled the window down. I was like, you know, after a couple minutes, he was like, Will? I was like, yeah, hey, what's up, man? What's up? And he said, hey, man, can I get a picture? I said, yeah, man, I need about $10. But then there's definitely the other side. I get sued probably 15 times a year. I have lawyers on a monthly retainer just because you get sued so much when you're famous. There are absolutely painful aspects of this life. Gotta get my nephew to walk Red Square. It's just that there's 10,000 people here right now. Like how it's just hard in a public place because of what people start to do. In my mind, I just refuse to allow myself to concentrate on drawbacks. You have to learn how to fight and defend yourself from predators without letting your heart go dark. And that's an extremely difficult balance, but I wouldn't trade this life for anything. I love being.
Advantages and disadvantages of being famous. Being a celebrity has its ups and downs. Being a celebrity or simply being famous has its own advantages and disadvantages. The common perception is that celebrities and famous personalities have everything in life. After all, the grass is always greener on the other side, isn't it? The truth is that there are as many downsides and disadvantages of being a celebrity as there are the number of benefits. Who said being famous was always fun? Decide for yourself. 5 major advantages of being a celebrity. The first one, celebrities get special treatment wherever they go. From special seats at theaters to special tables at restaurants, celebrities are given the advantage of being the favorite customers everywhere they go. Wouldn't you love it if you were given preferred entry wherever you go? Or given the first row seats at award functions? Of course you would. That is exactly why this perk of being famous is just too tempting. Being famous generally means being richer. One of the very obvious advantages of being famous is that fame generally brings lots of prosperity. Celebrities and other famous people are generally richer than the average people. Luxurious homes and cars, fancy gifts, expensive clothes, and other such materialistic pleasures of life convert from a dream to a reality. When people become famous celebrities, forget homes. Celebrities are also known to own entire islands. Number 3. Celebrities are recognized everywhere they go. Celebrities are recognized everywhere they go. This is an advantage because people often experience a massive ego boost when random bystanders recognize them. It can be a great opportunity to boast to a friend and say, "Gee, I'm so famous. Everyone recognizes me." Most seasoned celebrities get over this initial ego boost quickly. Of course, however, being recognized, spotted, and pictured is quite a rush and a nice message to the egos of some famous people. Still. Number 4. Celebrities and famous people have fans. Fans are the people who adore their celebrity idols. They can have celebrity crushes or even real-life admiration for their idols. Fan mail and other forms of appreciation that celebrities receive can be inspirational, motivational, and very humbling. After all, who wouldn't like to have their own fans or followers? Number 5. Many opportunities arise when people become famous. When people become famous, more opportunities arise in life, whether they are career-related or not. For example, someone like Michael Jordan made a living not only from playing basketball, he was also the face of Nike and promoted many other brands, such as Adidas. Ronaldo with KFC advertisement, Robert Downey Jr. with Colantote, and other example from my business, Shasha Stevenson, a famous YouTuber with Sambal Ulat Miru. Also, someone like Kim Kardashian can afford to dwell into newer businesses like fashion and perfumes simply because she is famous and can afford to sustain and promote them. Many celebrities tend to embark upon the entrepreneurship path as soon as they achieve stardom. So, being famous definitely opens many doors. 5 major disadvantages of being a celebrity. The first one, famous people can't do things that the average person can. What do you think would happen if Paris Hilton walked down to the supermarket on a regular day? She would be mobbed and hounded for autographs and pictures. Celebrities and other famous cannot lead lives of normal people. They may be forced to live in their own little secluded world and will generally be unable to do things. These disadvantages of being famous can stop celebrities from indulging in the little pleasure of life, which can be very frustrating indeed. Some of these simple pleasures of life include: first one, playing ball at the neighborhood playground, going shopping at the grocery store, going for an uninterrupted walk or a bicycle ride on the beach, sitting on the park bench, and reading a book without being asked, "Can I take a picture of you?" Have a quiet dinner with family at the local restaurant. Number 2. Being famous or a celebrity can attract stalkers. We've all heard about those nasty cases of celebrity stalking that have gone out of control. Famous people are often followed or harassed by phone, email, or mail by fans or followers who cross the line and become obsessed. Obsession can turn into threats and even physical harm. Number 3. A celebrity status can attract too many fake friends. From a celebrity's perspective, it becomes very hard to separate a genuine person who wants to be friends from many of the million. As one would imagine, it'd be a nerve-wracking experience to scrutinize each and every individual that comes into their lives. It would literally translate to being on guard every single hour, minute, and second of the day. Number 4. People constantly judge celebrities. Tabloids, magazines, newspapers, blogs, and other forms of media constantly judge celebrities on their personalities, habits, bodies, and a lot more. Reading demeaning, rude, nasty, insulting, and derogatory lies about one's own self is a part and parcel of a celebrity's daily routine. From a layperson's point of view, it's like having a million people talk behind your back on a daily basis. Imagine how hard-hitting this would it be if a tabloid talked about how fat you are or how sleazy you are. Last but not least, celebrities have no privacy. If Tom Cruise bought a new car or an island, the entire world is going to know about it. If Arnold Schwarzenegger heads out for a ride on his motorcycle on a sunny day, pictures of him are going to be splashed in the tabloids. If Daniel Radcliffe and his family have an argument or a fight, the whole world will know about it. Get the point? Lack of privacy is one of the biggest disadvantages of being a celebrity. So your task at home. Make a short video 2 until 5 minutes and answer the following question. Send it to your English teacher or Google Classroom. The first one, what are the advantages of being celebrity? What are the disadvantages? Second one, have you ever seen a celebrity? Next, do celebrities deserve privacy? Number 4, who do you think is the most well-known celebrity of all time? And the last, imagine you are having a party. Make a list of 5 celebrities, living or from the past, to invite. Explain your reason for choosing each celebrity.
Yeah, I make people very nervous. I can understand why.
Yeah, do you find that?
No, I was joking.
Oh yeah, no, you're actually a very calming presence in the room.
Oh,
You're not,
really? Oh, good.
There's certain people that I've met before that get me all wired up. You're not like that.
I'm quite an excitable person, but I think the fact that I'm more hyperactive than any interviewer that I've ever met tends to have a calming effect on them because they're like, wow, he's way more nervous and wired than we are, so it's fine.
I saw a hilarious anecdote about dealing with the paparazzi and something that you did about dressing in the same clothing.
Oh, yeah.
Dealing with the paparazzi, like watching them get frustrated like that. That's got to be the best thing in the entire world.
It's the best. It really is. You know, they don't really bother me that much. It's much harder for girls. But you know, they get around sometimes, and they were always there outside stage door at Equus in London, and they really start to piss us off. So yeah, so we just had the idea that I'd just wear the same jacket and hat every single time I walked out, and it looked like they had photos from all the same day, and they were completely valueless. And after a while, they left us, which was great. One of the great things is, especially if they're following you in a car, just great thing always to do is just to make them drive for miles, just take time out of their day. It's little victories in life, but it's good fun.
Now, I promised your fans that we'd go to Twitter, and we selected some Twitter questions.
Cool.
And Andy Johnson wants to know what your dreams of the future were when you were a kid, and did they always involve acting?
No, not at all. I mean, there's some ridiculous thing online apparently that I said that I wanted to be an actor when I was 5. I think I probably did, but then in between then and actually becoming an actor, I think I wanted to be an astronaut, a fireman, a marine. Like, you know, I was a kid. I was changing my mind every week. I just sort of, you know, I was just dreaming about not having to go to school the next day, which eventually did come true. So that's, there's a lesson there for all of us.
Okay, student, I think it's enough for today. What do you think of being famous? What is the advantages and disadvantages of being celebrity? Okay, let's say hamdalah together. Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. Dan doa kafaratul majlis. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Thank you. I'm Teacher Nur. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye bye.